Stop waiting for permission to change your life, to do something different, to go make more money, to have better relationships. Stop waiting for the world to come choose you and instead choose yourself. This is something that I have noticed a lot in myself and I see a lot in other people. Everybody has a story that says, I would do this, I would change, or I would love to do that, but I can't because of this reason or that reason or that reason. We give ourselves an excuse. We say, this is a hard barrier that I can't pass, and then we wait for the world to contradict that, or we wait for the world to give us the power to change. We say, I'm helpless in this situation. I need something outside of myself to come change things before I can move forward. And that might be true in a very small minority of cases. If you're sick in the hospital and you're waiting on your leg to heal before you can walk again, you are bound by external circumstances. But most of the time, what we are bound by is psychological traps we have created in our own mind that are keeping us held, saying, you're not good enough the way things are, you can't do that, you need somebody outside of you, you need somebody out there to come show you the way, somebody to come say, hey, you there, I'm going to show you how to make $1 million. Or hey, you there, I love you and you're amazing and I just want to be with you forever. We wait for that magical thing to show up in our life that we have imagined will somehow make everything, I'm getting too bright over here, that we imagine will somehow make everything suddenly change. We've imagined that the way things are right now is not quite good enough. We would like it to be better, and we wait for the world to give us that permission to change. And the reason we want that permission, the reason we want somebody outside of ourselves to come say, I love you and you're amazing and I'm always gonna love you and I'm never gonna leave you. Or we want somebody to come say, hey, I'm gonna show you the way to make all the money. I'm gonna show you the way to quit your job and travel the world, or do whatever it is that you might want to do. We wait for the permission. We have the idea that we want to do it, but we feel like where we are now is not good enough. We feel like we don't know how, we can't do it, we're not that type of person. Therefore, we wait because now's not the right time, I don't feel ready. I can't do that. I'm waiting for somebody to show me, for something to happen to indicate to me that I can do it. When we do that, we are disempowering our current self. We are taking away all of the agency we have to actually change in the world and instead giving it away, saying, hey, would you pick me? Would you choose me? That would be great. And this cultivates a very needy sort of energy that becomes the dominating force in our lives when we say, I need you to approve of me so that I get to feel good. Instead of giving ourselves permission to just be okay in life, be happy with who we are, we look for that externally. I look for you. I say, would you pick me? That would be great. You know, if you would just love me unconditionally forever, that would be amazing. Or, hey, would you show me the way to make all the money? I can't do it by myself. I don't know how, but you're pretty cool. And if you were to show me how I might be able to do it, then I would feel good enough. Then I could succeed. That would be fantastic. When we do that, we are being very, very needy and we are perpetuating our underlying narrative. The underlying narrative that you aren't good enough the way things are, that you can't do it, thus you need somebody to come show you. And the trick is that as long as that narrative, as long as that fundamental belief system exists that says where I am is not good enough and I can't do anything to change and I don't know how and I need somebody, I'm helpless and I need somebody out there to come fix things or fix me. As long as that narrative is fundamentally what is determining your behavior, as it very often is in life. I've noticed this in myself for so long. For so long, I would feel helpless. I would feel like I was stuck because I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I'm helpless. Therefore, I need these external things. I need somebody to come change me, to give me permission, to tell me I'm ready. Even when I know that I want to change, I feel like I cannot. And I waited and I waited and I waited for the world to come say, hey, you can make YouTube videos, or hey, you can travel, or you can follow your dreams and make a living with your passion, whatever the case might be. I had the belief that I needed to wait until somebody else came and said, you are ready. Because I didn't have the strength internally to stand on, and I didn't feel like I was ready. So I gave away, instead of choosing myself, instead of choosing that I believe in me, instead of giving myself that grace and that power, I externalized it into the world, and I gave away all of my own power. In relationships, I would say, I need to find somebody who's gonna love me and make me feel whole and complete. And in jobs, I would feel like I need to make everybody happy so that they like me because I'm not good enough inherently. Just being myself's not okay. I need to find a way to get everybody to choose me, to get everybody to be willing to give me permission to be okay. I was constantly seeking that validation, that permission from everybody else. And when you do that, it is incredibly disempowering. And the trick is, because that underlying narrative is false, because that underlying narrative is false in everybody, if you feel like you're fundamentally not good enough, it's just not true. I'm not saying it doesn't feel incredibly strong and it feels terrible, and I'm not saying it's not a powerful force in your life, but it's fundamentally not true. It's based on misconceptions and a skewed worldview that is fundamentally false. But when we have that belief, it determines what we seek, that external permission, right? I want you to pick me, and then how we react when that happens. So when I would find a relationship, I would become very needy because all of a sudden I had somebody who picks me. But when somebody finally picks you, now one of two things is gonna happen. One, you need them to continue to pick you. You become very manipulative. I became very manipulative, not intentionally, but very nice guy, people pleaser, do everything because once that person picks me, now I am dependent. I need them to continue to pick me, so you do everything to get them to continue picking you. And two, the second thing that happens is it stops mattering. Once they pick you for a while, their behavior no longer fills that void. You start needing more people to pick you because the underlying false narrative that you need that somebody to choose you. You need somebody to go, oh, you're great. I'm gonna knight you. I'm gonna choose you for the one I love forever. That wears off and we start to need somebody else because the need is the psychological illusion. The need, that feeling of that void cannot be filled because it doesn't really exist. So pick yourself in life. Choose yourself. And there are three things that happen when you pick yourself. When you give yourself permission to do the things that you've wanted. When you stop waiting for life to come say, you're the one I choose, you're great and I'm gonna love you forever, or you're the one I choose to show how to do all these things. Stop waiting for that external permission and instead start by giving yourself internal permission. And there are three things that happen when you do this. And the first thing is you become less needy because you're no longer externalizing all of your energy. You're no longer projecting outward saying, would you pick me? Would you pick me? Would you pick me? You no longer push people away because that neediness is very repulsive. Strangely, when you pick yourself, you attract people more easily. And this at first seems very confusing. Why would being more so seemingly selfish make you more attractive? But it is because you don't need something from the other person. Neediness is repulsive. When you are fulfilled within yourself, when you give yourself permission and stop looking for it in the world, when you stop looking so much for, I need you to love me, I need it, I need it, I need it, and you start saying, well, you know, you're cool, but I'm loving myself over here. I'm pretty chill either way. You give the other person permission to breathe. And this is true in relationships, this is true in like jobs, this is true everywhere. When you're behaving out of need, you push people away because it's uncomfortable. When we think of being selfish, actually we're thinking of being needy, typically, because if I'm truly being selfish, what I need is for you to do something for me to feel better. When I give myself permission, when I fill my own self up with my own permission to be who I am or do the things I want, and I don't need it, and I don't seek all this external validation, that seems at surface level to be more selfish. Oh, he's just thinking about himself. He's just doing his own thing. He doesn't care about everybody else. But when you are constantly caring about everybody else and what they think about you and you need things from them, you are actually only caring about yourself. You're caring about them for you. You're caring about what they think of you. You're doing everything for them, for you, to get what you want out of them. When you start to fill up your own cup, so to speak, you no longer have that need for things from everybody else. And this is why it's more attractive. This is why it seems like being more self-centered in that way. That's kind of a strange term to use for it, but centered within yourself. Not everything is about me, and that includes you. I need you to think about me. No, when I don't need you to think about me, I free you up to be you. And also, I can be more giving because I don't need from you, I can actually give to you. I can give you my honest and genuine attention and time and in relationships and in business. That's great. The second thing that happens is you start to notice how many areas in your life have been kind of hampered and hamstrung by this waiting for permission, by this not giving yourself the ability to act, by saying, well, I'm not good enough and I can't do this and I'm limited here. We constantly define our lives in a series of limitations which are primarily derived from our psychological perception of our reality. We say, oh, all these things happened in my past, so I can't do these. We allow that past to determine the future, but it only works that way because we make it work that way. We exist in the present right now, and we have the ability to do pretty much whatever within our physical capability, but we determine that because I did all these things in the past, they mean all these things to me, and I can't do this, I can't, We get stuck in the story. And when you start to give yourself permission, when you start to break free of that narrative, you start to realize how many areas you hold yourself back. And in my life, I can see that I've held myself back in relationships. I've held myself back in wanting to travel and feeling like I wasn't good enough or I couldn't do it. Wanting to make YouTube videos. I wanted to make YouTube videos for like 7 years. And then when I started making YouTube videos, I still held myself back. I said, oh, you can't make, you can't make a talking head YouTube video. You only can make travel videos. You don't know what you're talking. I had more and more waiting for permission until I wanted somebody to come say, I choose you. I pick you to make the YouTube videos. Andrew, you're the perfect one, blah, blah, blah. And that's not how, it's silly. That's not how the world works, but it's also not how the world needs to work in the first place. And the third thing that happens when you start giving yourself permission is you take your power back. All of that time and energy you used to spend externalized, saying, I need this from them, or oh, if they would love me, or can I get you to approve of me? All of that starts to be channeled back within you. Now you're free to spend that time and energy doing what you would like. And that is very freeing. You don't need to spend all your time and energy chasing permission, saying, if these conditions are met by certain scenarios outside of my control, we like to roll the dice in life. Say, well, if these things happen, then I'll feel okay about myself, but otherwise it's gonna feel bad. We can say that that's kind of stupid, that to base our sense of self-worth, to base our inner concept and how we feel and our energy in life on a roll of the dice that we have no control over is inherently kind of silly. And to analyze that process a little bit, to look at it and say, well, why am I doing that? To dive deeper into where these stories come from our beliefs that we need somebody to approve of us in the first place. That's kind of silly. You can feel good enough right now. You can feel worthy right now. You can start picking yourself in life. Stop going around saying, I need you to pick me. Would you pick me? Stop chasing that validation to fill that never-ending hole. And I'm not saying that that hole doesn't feel very real and vulnerable and painful, because it does. But what I am saying is that when you dive into exploring the source of these beliefs we have, when we understand these patterns of behavior we've been trapped in for years and years, we start to realize that they're bullshit. They are not fundamentally true, and to continue to allow them to define your experience of life, to determine your limits, to determine what you think you are and who you think you can be. We have all of these judgments based on ourselves, and we believe them, and then we look for somebody else. Well, would you come show me? Would you come give me permission? Because I'm bad with money. I need you to give me permission. Somebody to tell me that I'm good enough to make $1 million. Somebody to tell me that despite the fact that you all think you're unlovable, I'm gonna love you and I'm gonna carry you. that perpetuates our neediness. Because even if you find that person, even if you find that job, you'd suddenly have your claws in that job for the rest of your life. You have to need that person. You have to do everything to make them continue to choose you because you can't choose yourself. So instead, choose yourself in life. Give yourself permission to pursue the things that matter to you, to go live the life you want to live, and stop looking for everybody else. Stop searching for the people to constantly choose you, to say that you're good enough. Stop looking for that validation from outside of yourself and instead find it within yourself. If you're curious as to where some of these crazy psychological patterns we have that perpetuate these beliefs come from, check out this video right here on inner child wounds. And if you're curious about how we can move forward from these patterns, check out this video right here about how to heal your inner child wounds, specifically through journaling. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.